All
Like
right, we are live. I'm laughing because Andre just said, yay. We're live. Welcome, you guys. If you can hear us and see us okay, please go to our chat window at theory11.com/expose. You can join us, chat live, ask questions throughout this broadcast for the next few moments. This will be up to an hour in length. We've got special guests, we've got news, we've got updates on things, and we'll be taking questions and chatting with you guys live throughout the entire broadcast. So if you're not there already, go to theory11.com/expose. You can log in, you can comment, you can chat, you can see us, maybe, hopefully. This is the third time we've done that, so we're not seasoned professionals at this yet, but we're working on it. We're here with Andrei Jikh. Andrei, can you hear me okay?
What's up?
Andrei is joining us from Las Vegas, the city of
Vegas.
Whatever, Vegas. Christen Gerhart is here with us as well. She's not from, but she's joining us from San Francisco, right?
Yep.
What are you there for again?
There's a convention called Helicon over this weekend, so I'm going to be speaking at that.
Is the convention about helicopters, or why is it called Helicon?
It's called Helicon because Hella is a Bay Area word, and we're in the Bay Area. Duh.
I'm not with the hip jive talk.
Hello.
Come on now. Come on.
So, and we also have special guest Blake Vogt will be on this episode. Last week we had Jason England. The week before that we had everyone in the world. We had the week before that we had Chris Kenner, Homer Leweg, Jason England, R. Paul Wilson. But this week we are focusing on Blake Vogt, and he will be our guest so later in the episode. So you guys can post your questions or start thinking of questions for Blake Vogt. And that'll be the second half of this episode. But hopefully you guys can see us okay, hear us okay. So let's get started. Welcome to Exposé. It worked!
Woohoo!
The little things. It's been
We shouldn't be so excited about that.
Yeah, we're really excited
so
that we got
excited about that.
Exposé logo. That was about 30 minutes of our life today. So.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to get started. Christen, I think we're going to start with news. What happened this week in the world of magic?
Well, first up we have Todd Robbins and his new show, Intoxicating Magic, which already sounds super intoxicating, right? It's going to open at the Strip House in Planet Hollywood on July 25th. So if you're even remotely near Las Vegas, you can head over there and see that show. And he also said that Play Dead, the show that he did in collaboration with Teller, from Penn and Teller, will be coming to Las Vegas March 2016. Play Dead was a huge success. JB, you actually got a chance to see it while I was
I've not really seen that show. So Play Dead was a show in New York City. It was in a small theater. I believe it was in the West Village, and it was in a small theater, like maybe 50 to 100 seats, and it's a scary, spooky experience. It's inspired by like the spook shows. And you go there, at times the theater is pitch black. It's like some of the scariest stuff you'll ever see, and there's magic within the show. It was produced or directed by Teller, Penn and Teller. But yeah, and not only did I see the show multiple times, I brought a bunch of people to it because I loved it. One person is killed. That sounds so bad. One person is not really killed, but on the stage killed during performance. So I was killed and Play Dead. I'm coming to you from the afterlife now. But it was awesome. Wherever that is playing, Christen, where did you say that was going to be?
So I couldn't find that out. There was some talk that it might show up at the Palazzo and a couple other different places, so we're not really sure exactly what that's going to be, but it will be somewhere in Las Vegas.
Everything that
is
awesome. He's a really polished performer. He's got this cool, mysterious vibe to him, so highly recommend checking that out.
Yep. And then, in further news, Epic Rap Battles. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the series, the Epic Rap Battles, but they do different actual raps between famous people from the past, from the present. And this time they put out one between Harry Houdini and David Copperfield. Obviously not the real Harry Houdini and not the real David Copperfield, but it is truly an epic rap battle, and I highly suggest checking it out. There is some strong language, but I like strong language, so I really enjoyed it.
We have a preview for you guys. Are you guys ready to see it? I don't think you're ready for this. I don't think you're ready. Okay, you're ready. All right. 30 seconds.
Back of a pub, saggedy act is embarrassing. The saddest thing to happen to me is to get around. Hang on by my ankles, on my crane, I dangle. Lux on my bagel that you couldn't handle. Bash your rears if your flag wires tangle. You can't hide shame with a camera angle.
Did somebody say angel?
No.
Oh.
See what they be watching if it wasn't for me. I remind the world of magic is supposed to make it happen. While you waste time proving everybody wrong, I'm backstage getting my supermodel groove on. Just relax, take a private trip to my...
Alright.
Okay.
So you can see how epic it is. And yes, there is a fake Chris Angel cameo in it.
There is. So both Copperfield and Chris Angel, I don't know if you guys saw this, both tweeted about it. Behind the scenes, I was actually the one that got to make the phone call to David Copperfield to say, I don't remember what my exact language was, but I think it was something to the effect of, hey, there's a rap video of you on the internet. And then it was like a bunch of silence for a few seconds, and then I think his response was something to the effect of, what? And then so I had to explain to him what this video was. So this was not something that David knew about, Copperfield knew about in advance. He saw it as everyone else saw it, thought it was hilarious. He posted about it. I saw even Chris Angel posted about it. So it's a pretty awesome video. You can check that out.
Do you think Copperfield will make one of his own?
He does a
I
lot
would
of
like to
things
see
well, like creating islands and magic tricks and things of that nature. I don't think rapping is one of his awesome things.
I think he should give it a go, you know.
I would. He's probably equally good at rapping as I am, so I would be willing to pose that challenge.
We should have a Theory 11 Copperfield rap battle.
Yes.
Rap battle. Yes.
Or at least writing like haikus or something to that nature.
Haikus.
Fantastic.
Yes, but yeah, if you have not watched that video, go to YouTube. It was actually on the front page of YouTube earlier this week. I saw under like most popular videos. It has several million views already, so it's funny. You can watch it. It's great.
And that's all for the news, but a lot of people are writing in the comments really quick about my new adopted cat, Peter Capaldi. Thank you for asking. He is adorable and wonderful.
Wait, Kristen's new cat has its own Instagram account. It's lived
He
there.
does have his own Instagram account. It's at Peter Capaldi.
That's awesome.
If you don't know who Peter Capaldi actually plays Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who. So I was in the middle of watching the new Doctor Who season when I found this cat outside and named him Peter Capaldi, and it worked out really well.
That's so cool. That's great.
He's a Time Lord, you know.
Obviously, I mean. Yeah.
Obviously.
By the way, another thing that's interesting about the rap video is it's just started to dwell on the rap video for 30 minutes. That's a whole hour. We're just going to talk about the rap video. The rap video is very accurate. Like the lyrics are accurate. So that was the first thing that David noticed about it too. It's like the story, not obviously some of it's jokes, but the parts about Houdini who would say disparaging things about Robert Houdin, who was his idol, and things like that are actually accurate things within it. So it's more than just a funny video. There's some.
They did their work. They did their research. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like the information they got about Copperfield was really accurate. Like they just like swam out to his island and like watched him, and, like made a creepy rap about all of Copperfield's like personal activities.
Yes. So they at least like read Wikipedia before they watched on them. So I applaud their intense research efforts.
All right.
That's it.
Cool. Well, so this week we have two new insanely awesome wire releases, and they both happen to be from the same guy. His name is Seleznev Dmitry, and I think he's Russian. If he's not, I would be highly disappointed. He's got a Russian name. So first release is called Bliss. It's a really interesting multi-packet cut with a unique flow, and I really dig it. So let me show you guys the cool preview for it right now.
Are you going to play the whole tutorial?
Pretty cool. Yeah, I was going to play the whole tutorial, but then that's probably mean. But it's free, so that's pretty cool.
Sebastian in the comments says Andrei's brother confirmed.
Yes, my long-lost brother. But anyway, it's free. So we have been having a lot of free cardistry releases, by the way, on the wire, so don't miss them. You can practically create like your own whole show based on the freebies alone, because they're all amazing. But his next release is called L'Esprit de Escalier. I probably butchered that, but it's absolutely amazing. I really love this one, and I think I'm going to learn it. I love the flow, especially the display at the end. So yeah, let me show you the preview. It's 99 cents, by the way, but it's so worth it. Here it is. Pretty cool, right? I really like that. So that's 99 cents. Super worth it.
I like it a
anyway,
lot.
go to his, yeah, he's got a lot of cool like content on his channel, and he has his YouTube and Instagram. So go to The Wire and find his channel there. But speaking of amazing content, this week we actually released an uncut performance of Jason showing Sub Rosa on our YouTube channel and Instagram. So it's very well received. We're super happy you guys are digging it. But wanted to quickly show you for those who haven't seen it. It's By the way, with the part where he turns the deck 180 degrees to show that it's not a stripper deck, that's just for that. You don't have to do that. It's just to show us that.
We showed you guys last week on Exposé, I think it was the first time we had shown people Sub Rosa on video uncut, like just Jason doing it uncut, and the response was like, Hermagerd. It's beautiful and incredible to see. It's so clean. It is, again, a deck can be shuffled. The deck can be examined by the spectator fully. It can be shuffled by the spectator fully, as much as they want, however they want. If they want to do some crazy shuffles, whatever, it's fine. They're not going to mess you up. And it's just a beautiful, clean, very practical, widely applicable technique. So we showed you guys on Exposé. Jason was with us last week, and he presented this live multiple times, the basics, and then he also did it where he shuffled the cards, not only produced the 4 aces, but produced the 4 kings as well. So we posted that video of him doing that stuff on our YouTube channel, and then Andrei found a video of Jason demonstrating these techniques from the actual Sub Rosa video shoot, and it's 53 seconds long, and that's what we posted a few days ago, right, Andrei?
Yeah, exactly. But normally you would not be able to do this with a normal stripper deck by turning the deck halfway at 180. You would not be able to pull the aces like that.
You'll see Jason like take the cards, shuffle them, and then like he spins half of the cards around. That's not a flourish. Jason England is not a flourisher by trade. He's doing that for the express purpose of showing that it's not a stripper deck. Because if you guys are familiar with the concept of a basic stripper deck, if you spun half the cards around and shuffled them, your performance is over. You would not be able to continue after that. So this is not that.
Exactly.
So let's roll the video so they can see us.
Yeah. Jason, by the way, is a closeted cardist. Anyway, here it is. So that was one of the raw clips directly from Sub Rosa, just an uncut clip. That's really cool. But I think one of the cool things that we really like about this is that you can literally walk into any convenience store or gas station and get the necessary material. It costs like maybe $2, and within 2 minutes of walking out of the store, you'll be able to basically like combine the Sub Rosa concept and modify your own deck to contain the concept and blow people away right there and then. So that's not something you can say about any stripper deck. Yeah, and that's one of the powerful things about it.
There's a question posted here by Boy99. He's saying, can you control any card or just the aces and the kings? You can control whatever cards you want. If you want to do some routine with sevens that you just love sevens, you can do a trick with your favorite sevens if you want. You can do whatever you want. So it's very widely applicable. Basically, this is just a method of controlling the cards. So I'm sure any of you guys watching this who do tricks that involve finding a spectator's selected card, or controlling 4 aces to the top or the bottom, or the 4 aces
but not just the aces, not just that group, but you can have up to 2 sets And Jason talks about more than just the aces and the kings. You can even do more depending on your skill level, so that's why we said you can control the difficulty level as much as you want to practice it. If you want it to go crazy, you can control several pairs, not just pairs, but like four of a kinds, like the kings, the aces, and maybe the sevens, or whatever it is you want. So that's a really, really cool thing about the concept.
Yeah, so it's extremely applicable to pretty much anyone that does card magic. You can find a way to use this, and it's people are like, well, why haven't we sold this as a download yet? There's a lot of forum questions saying, why can't we sell this as a download? If you don't have to use the decks that we give you, why can't I use my own deck? And you guys can sell this as a streaming video or a download. And we made that choice intentionally so that you guys would learn this properly. And it is not a complicated technique, but it is a 45-minute explanation video. And the cards that we give you when you buy that video comes in a beautiful packaged box. Are engineered professionally, so you guys can see exactly how this is supposed to look and how it's supposed to be made. So it's like saying, should I learn the invisible deck for the first time from a downloadable video? No, that's not the best way to learn the invisible deck. Maybe after you're very familiar with that concept, you can make your own. In this case, it's actually really easy to make your own, but certainly the best way to learn this is by seeing someone who has a lifetime of experience using it, which is Jason England, and seeing 2 decks that are professionally made that you can start learning with. And then once you're proficient with that, and you know how to make a deck that's precise and well made, and you understand the concept, you can go ahead and make your own. Like Andrei said, you can make it with Nomad cards, with whatever you want, Tycoons, whatever, your favorite deck. But to start with, this is the best way to learn it, and just take our word for it. And Jason's advice, he's been studying this for close to 20 years. This past week, I was at dinner with R. Paul Wilson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's an incredible, legendary con artist, expert, and kind of everything in sleight of hand. He's a genius. And he's also a close friend of Jason's, and I was talking to him about Sub Rosa. First, he said, he understands why we produced this video, but of course, in his heart of hearts, he wanted this to stay a secret. It is that powerful. Second, he told me a story that when he was growing up, there was only one professional magician around him that was teaching this concept, and they sold it for $500. Actually, that's not accurate. It was 500 pounds. 500 pounds. This was in Europe, so it was actually $700 or something to that effect. So we're selling this for $35 plus shipping. It's worth its weight in gold. Definitely learn this.
He definitely got ripped off. He should have waited.
They should have waited.
11 was gonna.
All he had to do was wait 30 years, and we would have,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's absolutely worth it if you're serious about card magic and taking your technique up a level and giving yourself the secret weapon that you can control the cards under impossible test conditions. This is it. It sounds too good to be true, but it actually isn't, and the reviews sort of speak for themselves. So, I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast we have a special guest that's coming. I'm gonna summon our special guest now, but to give you a little bit of a background on who this is. Blake Vogt. Some of you guys are already familiar with who he is. He's created Reform and Regeneration, which is one of our best-selling effects ever, where you take the card and have the spectator sign it on both sides, you tear the corner off, and then you repair it in your mouth. It's amazing. And Blake is also a consultant who's consulted for everybody who's anybody in the world of magic. David Copperfield, David Blaine, Troy, Dynamo, Dan White, anyone. And he's a genius. He's a creative genius. He's a creator. He's a performer himself. So he's a perfect one for us to have on this episode this week. So go ahead and get your questions ready for Blake. If you have any questions about him, his experience as a performer, as a creator, questions about working with David Blaine, David Copperfield, Troy, Dynamo, Dan White, anything and anything, go ahead and post your questions in the chat window. We'll be pulling from those over the next few minutes as we are going. And here is Blake.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! He appeared.
What's up?
Woo!
Welcome.
What is up?
We are live on the internet.
It is Blake.
Internet.
Can you hear us okay, Blake?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear.
Cute.
So I was just talking about how awesome you are and your favorite colors, and I was giving an intro on kind of what your experience has been, which is on multiple fronts. As a performer yourself, obviously, as a consultant, you've consulted on pretty much anything that's everything to do with Magic, especially on television, but also working with Copperfield and David Blaine and Troy and Dynamo and Justin Willman and Dan White. And so I guess to start people off, like.
I really like Magic.
Yeah, you realize that, like, what is there a particular area of what you do on a daily basis, like consulting or performing, that's like your real passion, or do you like them both in different ways?
Yeah, I definitely like them both in different ways, but I would say my favorite thing to do is perform, and I've been doing more of that recently compared to the creating, which I did, which I still do, and I love doing that. But I would say my heart is in the performing because I love that more.
Now, of the effects that you've created, so we've published multiple things from you. Obviously, we have things on the wire that you published, the regeneration, reform, and then there's something new that we've been working on. It's not released yet. I don't know if we confirmed the name of what it's called yet. But maybe, should we demonstrate that for people, or do you want to tell them like what the effect is first, or what do you think is the best way? Most people will not have seen or heard of this new majestic effect of yours.
Yeah, I can do like a version of it. I don't have cards, so I'll do like a version of it. I guess I was talking to you and Christen about it beforehand, but Andrei, you weren't on earlier, so this is like legitimately Andrei, you and I set nothing up, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to close my hand, and I'll leave my hand in frame the whole time. I don't want you to think this is like a video lag trick or anything like that. But Andrei, what I want you to imagine is that I'm handing you a deck of cards through the camera.
Got it.
It's an invisible deck of cards. Have you ever
Got
seen
it.
it? I'm not going to say that. All right, what I want you to do is take the deck out of the box for me and mix up the
Invisible
cards.
monarchs, yes.
You can do any flourish you'd like. Amazing.
Got it.
So they're all mixed up. What we're doing now is fan the cards so everybody watching can see all the different faces, right? Mixed up?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
What I want you to do is in that deck, there's picture cards and number cards. So which ones do you want to take out of the deck? The picture cards or the number cards?
The picture cards.
Picture cards. So those are the jacks, the queens, and the kings. So take those
Correct.
and drop all the other cards on the ground. Do that now.
Okay.
The better you
Got it.
imaginate, the better this will look.
Got
Good?
it.
All right, so you're holding
Yep.
the jacks, the queens, and the kings, right?
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want you, this is a trick question. What I want you to do next is get rid of 8 of them, and you're only going to keep a 4 of a kind. So you can either keep the jacks, keep the queens, or keep the kings. It's totally up to you. Which 4 of a kind do you want?
I'll keep the queens.
Are you sure? You can.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna change my mind. I'll
Okay.
do jacks.
You want to keep the
All
jacks?
right. I'll keep the jacks.
Okay, so that means you're getting rid of the queens and the kings, right?
Correct.
So you're holding the jack of clubs, the jack of hearts, the jack of spades, and the jack of diamonds. Right?
Correct.
I want you to drop
Yep.
3 of those, please.
Got it.
If this doesn't work, it's going to be such a letdown.
I really hope this works. Andrei, you are holding
Yes.
1 card, right?
Yep.
What I'd like you to do is fold that card in half. Well, first of all, which jack
Okay.
did you keep at the end? Which one is that?
Jack of diamonds.
Jack of diamonds. Fold the jack of diamonds in half, and then fold it in half
Okay.
again, and then hand it
Okay.
back to me through the camera. Nice. So this is a folded up jack of diamonds.
Yep.
I put it in my hand. It's been in view the whole time, either on your screen or in the bottom corner. As you can see now, there's just 1 playing card. And the odds are not good,
Yes.
but it is the jack of diamonds! What?
And on to that, you can affirm that nothing was set up with that?
No.
No,
We did-
100%. I've seen Blake do this for John Chu, the whole cast of Now You See Me, and absolutely slay everyone. It's
This
so
is-
good. It's
this
so
is-
good.
This is the trick that I never leave home without in my pocket.
So basically,
Yeah, it's
what allows you to do
ridiculous.
is you have a card in your hand the entire time, and the spectators are able to say, make all these decisions. They are actual decisions. You don't have to brief the spectator in any way. It could be a random person that's just brought up on stage, like, yeah, that's what you did for Now You See Me. They make all the decisions. You open up the card at the very end, and it matches what they said.
Yes, but the thing is, like, they don't know there's a card in your hand from the very beginning. So what's nice about it is you can get into it, and people legitimately think you are not doing a magic trick, because it's believable if someone comes up to you like, "Can you show me a trick?" You're like, I don't have anything on me. Here, I'll just do one with your imagination.
I love the story you tell with it though. Like I don't really. The first thing I saw was from this magician. He did this to me, and like he did.
Yeah. I've done it.
It's such a great story. I love that.
The main goal I go about doing it is to make the people think they're not actually seeing a card trick. So at the very end, when I do pull the card out, they're blown away before I even open it up. But it is any card they say.
Now, without giving anything away method-wise, it's something that's really difficult to perform. Do you just like switch stuff out and do some crazy sleight of hand moves throughout it?
No switching, no real sleight of hand. It's very, very easy.
So is there like a cauldron involved?
Yeah, you have to slit your hand and.
Obviously, like we could see the trap door in your hand. I don't know if it.
It's just all voodoo and.
I've sent some of these to friends of mine recently, and they've learned it instantly. So.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, we're working on that. It's not yet a pending release. We're still in the production process of the video and all that jazz, but that will be coming soon from Blake sometime in the next several weeks. So stay tuned. It's pretty much like sorcery.
It's pretty cute.
It's pretty cool. How long have you been working on that?
Oh man, the original concept I came up with back when I was working for Copperfield, so 3 or 4 years. A long time.
And has it evolved in that time?
Yeah, constantly evolving. The presentation, I've been doing the same for about 1.5 years now, with different versions, but the actual production of the item has gotten a lot better in the last 6 months. So it looks a lot better, but the presentation is I've been doing for a long time.
Someone asked in the chat, so it's a gimmicked hand?
Yes.
You can't actually wear a short sleeve shirt with it. You have to actually put the gimmicked hand on your body. And
that is the one downfall.
I would love to see someone do that. Like to go to a spectator and they're like, "There's nothing in my awkward hand."
You can examine everything except my hand.
Yeah.
It's stuck in like some weird awkward position.
Yeah.
Hello. All right, I'm just gonna hold
standard palm just looks like you have carpal tunnel. It's like, don't mind this hand. This is perfectly normal.
This is how you have to.
Take my strong hand.
Yeah. So good.
Awesome. So Blake, tell us what your past 6 months of your life has looked like. What have you been creating, working on, developing besides that?
Worked with you and Dan on the Magician Nomad show for a long time.
What was that like?
That was awesome. I think first time I flew out to New York to work on that was last year, middle of last year. So that's been a long project. And then the 2 weeks leading up to the premiere was pretty nuts. JB's brother Ari and Dan and I living in a hotel, working around the clock, like 17-hour days.
But we made it happen.
Yeah.
And then came back out. Remember when we did that? What's that guy's name? Jimmy Fallon.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yes.
What's that guy's name? Oh yeah.
And then he came to the show, and we didn't tell Dan that he was at the show.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting story. We should tell people. That was like, so we had a week of rehearsals at the Nomad show before the show, The Magician at the Nomad, debuted. If you haven't seen it yet, go to nomadupstairs.com. It's a show that Dan White's starring in New York City. So we were in the second day of those rehearsals. It wasn't like after a week of like polished rehearsals. It was the second night of rehearsals.
Family.
And yeah, friends and family rehearsals. Very like, the show is not polished and ready and totally done yet. And at intermission, we have a short intermission in the middle of the show, like 45-minute halves. The general manager of the Nomad Hotel comes up to me and was like, Jimmy Fallon is eating dinner downstairs at the restaurant. Do you want me to invite him up? And this was like one of those like life or death moments where my entire life flashed before my eyes, and I was like, what do you do? Because like on one hand, like two devils on my shoulders. Like one, I'm like, no, absolutely not. This is our second rehearsal ever. Why would you want someone of his stature to see like a rough draft of something before for the public to see? On the other hand, Jimmy Fallon's downstairs. I don't know if he's ever going to be downstairs ever again. So he's downstairs now. So we should take this opportunity because it's like, make or break. So I said, absolutely, send him up. Then I walk over to Blake, who was also in New York with us that night, and I told him, like, Jimmy Fallon's downstairs. He's going to come up. Yeah. And Blake's response was,
Are we going to tell Dan?
Yeah, and that was our next question. Are we going to tell Dan? And Dan was already, the reason why we were even thinking, I don't want you to think we're bad people, because, well, we are, but the reason why we didn't want to tell Dan is because we thought he was already so nervous, and it's so much like stuff in his head because it's the second time he's rehearsing this show. There's so many things, and so much stress on him already. We didn't want to add to that. So Blake and I made the executive decision not to tell Dan White.
Blake and I? No, hold on. So,
I made the decision. It was, I would say, 95% me. It was 5%.
I looked at JV and I was like, we're going to tell Dan, and he was like, no, definitely not telling Dan. and then JV was like, well, the only thing is that because Jimmy doesn't want to get like too much attention for coming to the show, he does not want to be selected for anything. He doesn't want to be picked, and then too many people will realize he's at the show, and so Dan just can't pick Jimmy. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, Dan will totally understand that, right? And JB goes, yeah, no, yeah, he'll totally know. He'll totally know.
Was I right?
You were totally right, but that was a huge gamble.
So, but the last part of that story was Blake goes up to Dan right before we're about to start the show, that second half of the show, and basically was trying to tell Dan that he had to like make this second half of the show really good because like Jimmy Fallon's in the audience. It's just like a life-changing opportunity. But he didn't want to tell him that Jimmy Fallon's in the audience. So Blake, I believe it was something to the effect of, Dan, you're gonna make this show really good, right? You're gonna do a really good job, right? You're gonna do really good, right? And Dan's like, yeah, what? Or what's wrong with you? And it's nothing. Just gotta. It'll be the best half ever, right? Best second half of a magic show in history, right? And
he was like, yeah, I was like, dude, you need to get excited. You want me to punch you in the nuts right now? And he was like, you need to calm down. I'm gonna go now.
I'm gonna do a magic show. You need to like lay low on the caffeine. And anyway, and afterwards, Dan understood.
And then my other favorite part was like the show gets over, and right when the show is over, Dan's standing next to me. Like the instant he walks off stage, I'm standing next to Dan, and Dan looks at me and goes, "Did you know Jimmy Fallon's in there?"
That was fun. That was an adventure. I want to get to a few questions here. Christen, if you can look through the chat as well and see if there's any questions I'm missing. I see one from Justin Morris. He's saying, Blake, what effect that you've created or have input on are you most proud of? Is there a few things, maybe one thing that sticks out in your head, like that was awesome that we came to fruition of that?
Oh, man. It seems like the harder something is, the more proud I am of it. So it's like those ideas or those projects you work on where they're like instantly solved or it takes a day of work, you know, like I think all of us here talking are pretty much perfectionists, so, you know.
Is there one though in your mind that like you're particularly protective of, or you're like really like you really cherish a lot?
Oh man. Put me on the spot. I don't know. I mean, I'm really, really proud of like the Nomad show with Dan and getting to work on that. That's pretty recent, but like that was like the hardest 2 weeks of my life. But it was also the most fun 2 weeks because we literally were waking up, working on the show, and we then like I was staying on Dan's guest room, so Dan and I then would come home from the hotel, and I'm sure JB and Ari were the same. Like, we then just talked about the show until we fell asleep.
Yeah.
So it was like, because we worked so hard on it, and then I was working behind the scenes, and then I had to come home and I never saw the show. And then 2 weeks later, Dan was on Fallon, and so I came back in town for that, and I actually got to sit in the back row and watch it, having not been a part of it. And it was like super emotional and like
Awesome.
really cool to see it actually happen.
There's a question
That's
here
so
that
great.
says, what's one of your favorite ways to incorporate magic into a conversation, or like how do you approach people? Like, what is your advice for approaching people wanting to perform magic for them?
Good question. I always like to under-promise and over-deliver when I perform magic tricks, so I kind of don't go into any performing scenario very seriously, whether or not I have something ready. Like if I have a few tricks on me, I will approach the scenario the same way as if I don't have anything prepared, and so that no one can really ever tell whether or not I'm ready to do a magic trick. But I feel like, you know, the common misconception about magic tricks and just people's understanding of them, I like to play into that. And if someone else brings up, I'm not normally the person to bring up what I do. So if I tell someone what I do, if they ask, I say I do magic tricks all day for a living. And then that usually spawns further questioning.
Yeah, is that what you tell people when you go on an airplane and the person next to you is like, so what do you do?
Yeah. Well, if I don't want to talk to them, which is sometimes the case, I'll say I'm a creative consultant. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
It's
Yeah,
classic.
I feel like that makes people want to know what you do. If you're a creative
that's
consultant,
probably like the most.
ooh, what do you do?
I think
Tell them you're a beekeeper.
Yeah. I think I've said I come up with ideas for things that you probably don't think people come up with ideas for. I think I've said that as well.
Then they'll be like, oh my god, that sounds wonderful. If you're just like, I breed cats, I breed puggles, they're like, oh, alright.
There's a question here from Andrew S1. He's saying, how did you get into consulting? What was your first consulting gig of sorts?
First consulting was for David Copperfield. You've heard of him? So I, long story short, probably too short, me and Kaylin Morelli were in Vegas working with Andrei and JB on filming Reform, and I was at the time in college and I needed an internship, and so on the last day of filming we saw Copperfield's show live, which I'd never seen, and I asked Homer Lewag and Chris Kenner for an internship, and they said no. And then, because of a snowstorm, I got stuck in Las Vegas for a week, and I spent a week trying to convince Chris Kenner to say yes, and at the end of the week, he said yes. So that was how that first consulting gig came about, was just me being really annoying.
Tell the story about how you met Kaylin. That's an interesting story too, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. So, Kaylin and I met on Skype, but the teaser trailer came out for Transit, and I have a rubber band trick.
I think you actually met him on Tinder, but go ahead.
Okay, well. Skype.
Skype, Tinder, Grinder, potato, whatever. Anyway, go ahead.
So I found Kaylin on Facebook, and I sent him a long message, and I was like, hey man, saw your teaser that just came out. It looks like you do rubber band magic. I do rubber band magic. If you ever want to talk about rubber bands or magic, Skype name. And then he messaged me back like within the hour, and he was like, I think I've heard your name, so we should Skype about magic and rubber bands. And then for the next like 2 months, we Skyped every night. And the funnier part of that is that my now fiance was my girlfriend at the time when I met Kaylin. And upon first meeting him, I Skyped him like for 2 or 3 hours a night for like 6 or 7 nights in a row. And on like the 5th or 6th night, I was talking to my girlfriend Nikki, and I was like, yeah, I can't really hang out tonight. I'm gonna Skype again with Kaylin. And Nikki goes, okay, you know, that's totally fine, but do you mind if I at least see a picture of this girl before? Like, I totally understand that you and her talk magic only, but, like, can I see a picture of what Kaylin looks like? And I was like, oh my gosh. So Nikki
I guess I don't know anyone else named Kaylin, so that's a fair estimation, not knowing which gender.
Yeah. So that's and Kaylin and I have been friends ever since.
And the first time you met him in person, right, was in Vegas.
No, actually, I met him in Ohio. We flew out to a convention together and split a hotel room to save on the price of the hotel room.
Wait, you didn't know him then, and you agreed to sleep with him in a hotel room?
Yep.
Sounds totally safe.
Yeah, well, we had Skyped like every day for like 6 months, and then we finally met in person. He was a lot taller than I thought he was, and then
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
and then we checked into the hotel room, and we're about to go walk around the Magic Convention, and he comes out. I come out of the bathroom, and I come out of the bathroom, and he is only wearing underwear and the dress code gimmick. So if any of you know what the dress code gimmick looks like, I did not. No, I did not know what the dress code gimmick looked like. So I've just met this dude, and I walked out, and you know, there are things like you can see parts of the chest that I didn't expect to see upon first meeting this.
You're talking about nipples.
Nipples. I saw his nipples. So
Real talk.
yeah, but then we flew from the convention straight to Vegas, and we ended up spending like 10 days together after not having ever met in person. We found out that my OCD is not shared with him.
In what way?
He's not as OCD as I am.
I think he means in every way, in every single possible way.
In every possible way.
Yeah.
A few more questions here. Z Swim, what is your favorite effect to perform that seems to get great reactions almost every time? What is your go-to thing if someone just comes up to you or you're at a restaurant or something, and you want to show a trick to someone? What do you show them?
If I have regen on me, I'll do that with either a deck or dollar bills. Or if I don't have...
People are not familiar with regeneration. Can you demonstrate?
Yeah. You do a what?
Can you demonstrate?
I'll tell you. It'd probably go over better if I told you. Just tear the corner off of either a playing card or a dollar bill. I swallow it, and then I restore it with my mouth. Blood of mouth.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So I'll do that, but if I don't, like my literally go-to, I was just home for a week and a half, and I probably performed it twice a day, so a lot, was this card in hand, invisible card thing. I perform it all the time, and it really gets the best reactions any trick I'm currently doing.
About being a performer, there's a question here. Andrew S1, how do you recommend getting more confident as a performer? Did you battle things like nerves and kind of stage fright and shaky hands and things like that people battle when they're starting in Magic, or even experienced performers have this as like a crippling stage fright? It can affect anybody. Did you have that, and how did you get over that?
Still have it. Haven't gotten over it. And I think the more you do it, the not easier, but the more comfortable you get. And anytime I do anything new, I get a little bit of the shakes, or I get super nervous. But I love that nervousness. I don't ever want to be bored with performing. So I think just the more you do it, the better you get. I think that's like proven. But my dad also taught me when I was younger, because my dad's good at speaking. He's an amazing public speaker. He taught me that before he would give speeches for a lot of people, he'd take his hands and grab the bottoms of his shirts, so there's a bunch of fabric in his hands, and you just squeeze really, 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 really hard. And it actually exhausts your hands and makes them really, really tired, and they will shake less. So anytime I get super nervous, I will still do that.
I'm stealing that.
I did that last night because I tried a new trick.
There's another question here that says, how does your creative process work? Can you kind of walk us through a little bit of your creative process when creating tricks or consulting?
Yeah, I like to throw as many ideas at the wall as possible. I think some guys I've worked with are amazing at this. It works for them. They'll just sit around and they won't say anything until they think they have a good idea. I won't shut up, good ideas or bad ideas. I'm actually more of a fan of bad ideas.
What was your phrase? I know when you've discussed with potential people that you were consulting with in like your first meeting with them. What do you say?
Yeah. So in my first meeting with David Blaine and my first in-person sit-down meeting with Copperfield, both of them asked me, "What good ideas can you promise that you'll bring to this team if we hire you?" And I said, "I promise you 0 good ideas, but I promise you I will be the guy that never runs out of bad ideas." And
what do you mean by that?
I just mean like sometimes whenever you're in a creative position where you need to come up with ideas, people get stuck or they hit a wall. But I just don't hit a wall because I think bad ideas are just as valuable, if not more valuable, than good ones because the bad ones are always the ones that lead to the good ones. So I think that anytime you get stuck, I think you're just forgetting that you haven't ran out of bad ideas. So write those down. Write down.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of went from 0 to 100 here, though. Like so you went from meeting Carolyn on Skype to your first consulting gig ever being for the highest-grossing entertainer in history, David Copperfield, and then you've done all these things since then: Justin Willman, Dynamo Troy, traveled all over the world. But undoubtedly, one of the biggest projects you've done is something you did with Andrei. So I thought I want to talk about this week because it's timely. Exactly 1 year from Wednesday, which is June 10th of next year, of 2016. Now You See Me 2, the sequel, will be released. And both of you guys on this panel, Blake and Andrei, were there in London consulting and creating and working with the cast on that new film. So Blake, you're the guest this week, so if you can, and Andrei, chime in as well. But like, with obviously a lot of it you have to keep a secret, but overall, what was that experience like? Was it challenging? Was it fun? How was it working with a cast of hundreds of people as opposed to working with a small team like with David Blaine or David Copperfield? Give us some insight.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, really incredible to work on such a large production. Because I think, when you think of magic shows or any of the other shows I work on, like Copperfield's team was pretty small, Blaine's team was pretty small, but Dynamo's, they're all a pretty tight group, but a movie, like a full movie, uses a lot of people. So it was incredible how many people worked on that, and then also it was like literally every single person was the best in the world at that job. So it was like you just asked for anything and it was done, and it was done correctly. But one big hump to get over, I think, and JB, you and I were talking about this yesterday, was that because there were so many people, one thing that was hard to get across with magic especially were ideas, because if you gave someone an idea and then they, played the telephone game and tried to pass it along to a bunch of different people what your thought was, there were days where we just kept getting feedback like that. You can't do that. That won't work in the movie. You can't do that. It won't work that way. And then the day we actually went down and met the head of props, like the prop master, we just talked to him in person. He was like, "Oh yeah, we can totally do that." It's like we learned how important it was to not only have good ideas, but how to deliver those in the correct way to the correct people. And I think those were some big lessons learned on a big production.
Andrei, I want you to chime in as well from your perspective on it, but we only have a few minutes left, so I just wanted to let you guys know in the chat.
Nothing to add for that. That's awesome. Nothing to add. Pretty much summarized it.
For you guys listening to this in the chat, post your questions. Any final questions for Blake now? We only have a few more minutes. Christen and I will go through the questions you guys have and try to take a few more. But Andrei, can you tell us when you were on set with this cast in London, which is what? Morgan Freeman, Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, Dave Franco, Michael Caine, this iconic cast. What was that experience like of walking into the room and seeing these people for the first time? Were you nervous? Andrei?
Yeah, it was crazy. The night before, I wanted to throw up because I was so nervous. Like the night before, I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is crazy." Meeting these people, like I've grown up with seeing them on screen, and now I get to see them in real life. And we actually get to see them in real life. It's like, oh, they're people. They're real human beings. Like, yeah, like wow, this is they're just like me. They have 2 legs. It's I don't know. It's just like they're yeah. It's kind of underwhelming, but in a way, it's amazing because they're so good at what they do, and it's like Blake said, everyone was the best at what they did. It was pretty phenomenal. It was so cool, and it was so fun when John, he's such a fun director, he would like place bets with everybody, and he would come up to the cast, like specifically Woody Harrelson and Dave Franco, and all they would do all day long is like throw cards to each other from like 10 or 15 feet apart, and Dave would catch the card between his hands, and they fooled John into thinking they were not good at it, so they pranked him, and they were like, so we're trying to do this, like, 5 times in a row. He's like, all right, I'll give you 200 pounds if you catch 10 in a row. And they're like, no, I don't know. So they pretty much like scammed him, and they did it, and of course they succeeded, and he ended up owing them 200 pounds. Then they got cocky and tried to do it 20 times in a row, so they lost their 200 pounds. But that was so much fun. And then he did a challenge for me. It was this scene in like this plexiglass box. It was like 30 feet away. There's like this giant metal gong, like this giant circular piece of metal, and I had to like throw the card or flick it, and it curves around and hit the gong, and I try it, and everyone goes crazy because it makes like this metal noise, but I'm like this far off. I didn't hit it, but everyone like exploded. It was so much fun.
My one real quick story from meeting the cast for the first time. Andrei and I sat next to each other during the read-through, which was the first time all the cast was in the same room. We just kept turning to each other like trying to keep cool the whole time. And then I went over, and I went into the restroom, and there were like 3 urinals in this restroom. And
there's a video, actually. Here you go.
What?
No.
So there's 3 urinals.
Private.
2 outside ones were taken, which is like protocol, and there is an empty one in the middle. So I peed there, and I peed between Daniel Radcliffe and Michael Caine, and so I texted like all my friends. I was like, "Yo, I just immediately after." I was like,
Not during.
No, I just peed between Harry Potter and Alfred. This is crazy.
Blake, real quick, tell him the story about what you did for Mark with his ring.
I did the old gag where I made Mark Ruffalo think I threw his wedding band across the room with a nickel or something, and he.
Well, the backstory is Mark is so protective of his wedding ring. It's his wedding ring. It's the one thing that he cherishes so much.
Yeah.
And Blake's like, "Can I borrow that for a quick sec?" He's like, "Dude, please don't do anything to it. Like, I would really be upset." And Blake's like, "Oh, it's okay, it's fine." And then he does this ring. Like, what was it that you did? It was like a ring switch from your fingers.
Ring trick, and I threw it. That was
Yeah, and then he tosses a coin across the room, and Mark like freaks out, and he looks at Blake like he's about to murder him.
The Hulk.
And he's like,
starting to go. Yeah.
The real Hulk. He would have turned right then. Yeah.
And then he like picks Blake up and starts hugging him. He's like, "Oh, I hate you."
Yeah,
that was great.
A few last questions, Kristen. I'll let you choose. What few more questions we can get to before we have to call this episode an episode?
Okay, a couple of people were asking, what was one of your favorite projects or people that you got to work with, recently or ever?
Oh man.
And then follow up, if there was anybody you could work with from past or present, who would it be?
Wait, like imaginary, like a person in history?
Yeah, anybody in history or somebody that's operating in magic right now, or even not in magic.
My favorite person to work with consistently is Dan White. I feel like our strengths and weaknesses complement each other really well, and our bad ideas usually turn into good ones, which is hard to come by. And then as far as people I want to work with, I would love to continue. I love working with magicians, but I almost love more working with other artists. So, like, getting to be with Dan when he worked with Kanye, like, that was an amazing experience. seeing how Kanye works, and I've worked with Pharrell and Avicii on different projects, and those are like artists at the top of their game that aren't necessarily magicians. So I would love to continue to work with other artists that aren't magicians.
No.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Comment contest.
Comment
contest. Andre, what do you got?
Well, I have here a deck of Nomad playing cards that I'm about to shuffle, and your job, I'm going to fold one up as per the Blake's effect. I'm going to fold it up.
Wait, I got to make sure your hand's empty.
Yeah, hand's empty.
Got it.
Okay, I'm going to fold it up. You have to guess what I'm holding in my hand. First person guesses gets the deck of Nomad.
One guess per person, though. If you want, because everyone can post like 52 comments and they'll get it correctly. So post one guess per person in the comments. So yeah, we'll give it a second for people to get their guesses in. I think it'll take a second. Don't bring your hand out of you. Blake, we're basically reenacting your effect, but in a very non-magical way.
Awesome.
And wait, Andre, while your hand's there, while people are posting their comments, what is our prize going to be this week? What do they win? We released Break recently.
Deck of Nomads?
There you go, Nomad. So that was a recent release as well. So we'll do Nomad playing cards. Will be our prize.
Holy crap!
Holy
crap! It just exploded.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments. But Andre, keep your hand in frame, so make sure no one thinks you're cheating. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we'll give you guys about 10 more seconds here, and then we're going to call it right now. Let's see. Andre, keep your hand closed. Let me just look at what the comments are. Let's see. All right.
I'm looking.
All right, we've got
it. So do you, JB?
It's what?
Do you know what the card is?
I don't know what the card is. I'm just looking at how many comments we have.
James is a psychic. He's just like, oh no, I already know.
I see through Andre's hands, obviously, but
nobody's named it yet.
How do you know what it is? You saw it? Andre's eyes.
I know what it is. A zebra.
Yes. Yep, it is.
Yep.
Awesome.
Full-size zebra. Well, speaking of that subject, yeah, Blake, there was a question for you earlier from Luigi Madge. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or a horse-sized duck?
I'm allergic to both of them.
So either spells certain doom for you.
Yeah, I think I'm really
allergic to one of something than 100 of something, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a giant something that he's allergic to.
That's true. Good point.
So it's like a horse ton of feathers. Just.
I've been around horses, and I was in Copperfield's duck van without realizing I was in his duck van, and I almost died due to lack of breathing. So I would say the horse.
Andre, have we gotten a correct answer yet?
Nope.
No?
How's that?
Nope.
You sure?
It is a card, right?
Oh, got it. Somebody's got it. Somebody's got it. Bryant Sue
wait,
got
it. Don't say it. All right, slowly unfold the card. Show us. It looks like it is the 10 of hearts. So who got it? Andre, who was the first person?
Bryant Sue.
Bryant Sue.
TSU.
10 of hearts. So he will take home our prize. That was good. We got a lot of guesses. I guess a lot of people missed that one card. Congrats.
Yeah, it's such a non-assuming card. Just the 10 of hearts.
Very underappreciated.
Cool. So good final question to wrap up with here. Marcus Christensen's asking Blake, what's next in your career going forward? What does 2015, the rest of this year, have in store for you? What's your 5-month goals here? What's on the horizon for you this year?
A lot more performing. I've been doing comedy clubs out here in LA, and that's been really, really fun performing. Put out this trick with you guys. I have not released a trick since Regeneration, because I don't think I've come up with something worth doing that. So I think this is really, really cute. So working on that with you guys and performing a lot, and then probably continuing to collaborate with Dan White every day.
Rock and roll.
If I collaborate, you mean just spoon and go for
we don't talk about magic. We talk about movies and magic. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's it. We are at exactly 1 hour, I believe, right now. I think we started about 5 after 5, so now it's 6:05. So we're done. So last but not least, thank you to Blake for joining us on this broadcast. Look out for his new upcoming effect, the invisible card effect you guys saw demonstrated earlier in this broadcast for the first time. Thanks to Christen, thanks to Andrei for joining us on this panel, and last but not least, all of you guys for chiming in and asking questions, being a part of it. That's all.
Woo!
Well, somebody said that somebody was first, but I didn't see that, so I'm sorry.
So if that's we'll look back in the chat logs after this is over. If someone was first, we're going to be sending out 2 decks of Nomad playing cards. So whatever. Whoever was first will also get it. Don't worry. And yes, awesome. Thank you guys, and stay tuned next week. I'm not sure if we'll be doing a live expose yet or a normal episode, but stay tuned. We'll post details about that over the next few days. And that's all. Thanks, Christen. Thanks, Andrei.
Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Boom. We'll see you guys.